I'm Vilma.
It was March 15th, and I was standing in my office, organizing client files at 7 o'clock in the morning. Suddenly, Clarissa Hamilton burst through my door like a storm in high-heeled shoes. Her perfectly made up face was contorted with rage, her blue eyes blazing as she pointed a diamond-studded finger at me. "You will be fired today," she spat with venom. "Last night at the Children's Hospital Charity Gala, you deliberately disrespected me. When I approached your table, you sat there like a commoner." Her lips curled into a sneer that sent a chill down my spine. "My husband will know about this right away, and you'll be out of here before lunch." I felt my heart shatter. 3 years of hard work, building the international division from just 2 clients to 47, sacrificing weekends and family dinners, all gone because of Clarissa's wounded pride. Let me rewind 8 months. I was fresh out of college, burdened with student loans. My parents, simple school teachers, had always instilled in me the values of hard work and integrity. But the loan payments were crushing, so I started browsing freelance tutoring websites. I had a degree in international business with a specialty in Mandarin Chinese, thanks to my 2-year study in Beijing. I was not only fluent but also understood the cultural nuances that many Westerners missed. That's when I found a posting on Prestige Tutoring Services, a platform for wealthy clients. Someone needed intensive Mandarin lessons twice a week at their home. The pay was a whopping $300 per session. There was no name, just an address in the most upscale part of the city and strict requirements, complete discretion, a professional appearance, and absolute confidentiality. I applied using my maiden name, Wilma Reed, and dressed more conservatively than my usual office wear. I styled my hair differently and wore glasses I didn't really need. When dealing with the ultra-rich, they like their staff to blend in. When I arrived at the penthouse, I was in awe. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the entire city, and every corner screamed luxury. That's where I met my student, who introduced herself as Cora. She had an air of entitlement. "You're here to teach me Mandarin," she said without a greeting. "I need to be conversational in 6 months, not just basic phrases. I need to conduct business meetings and negotiate contracts. Can you do that? Or should I find someone else?" I nodded politely. "Absolutely. What's your current level?" She waved me off. "I know some words. Let's start." Within 10 minutes, I realized Cora knew next to nothing. She mispronounced basic greetings, mixed up tones, and got frustrated when I corrected her. But she was determined. Every session, she pushed herself harder, yet she treated me like a lowly servant. "Bring me coffee next time," she'd command. "And use the service entrance. The doorman shouldn't see tutors coming through the main lobby." I needed the money, so I swallowed my pride. $600 a week was worth it. As the months passed, I learned Cora was working on a $50 million joint venture with Chinese investors. She'd convinced everyone in her social circle that she was fluent in Mandarin and the perfect person for international negotiations. "My husband thinks I'm a natural with languages," she boasted. "Everyone at the club is so impressed when I drop Mandarin phrases." The irony was painful. Cora could barely string a sentence together in Mandarin. Even after months of lessons, she needed everything written phonetically to pronounce correctly. Her grammar was at a basic level at best. Meanwhile, at my day job, I was actually handling international deals, building our company's Asian market division from scratch. 6 weeks before that fateful morning, Cora was practicing her presentation for the investors, and it was a disaster. She couldn't remember business terms, confused yes and no, and spoke nonsense with confidence. "This isn't working," I told her gently. "You need more practice on fundamentals before complex negotiations." Her face turned red. "Are you saying I'm stupid?" "Not at all. Mandarin is very difficult. Most people need years to reach business-level fluency." "I don't have years," she exploded. "This presentation is my chance to prove I'm more than a trophy wife. You have to make it work." That was the first time I saw her vulnerability. Beneath her arrogance was a woman desperate to be taken seriously. I felt sorry for her. "We'll do extra sessions. I'll create phonetic scripts for your whole presentation. You can memorize it." Over the next month and a half, I rewrote her presentation in phonetic Mandarin. We practiced for hours until she could recite it perfectly, though she didn't understand what she was saying. I created backup materials and coached her on cultural customs. She started treating me a bit better, offering me drinks and asking about my background. 2 weeks before the presentation, Cora was finally getting the hang of it. She could deliver the pitch smoothly, answer basic questions, and handle small talk. She wasn't fluent, but she could fake it for a business meeting. "I'm going to be amazing," she declared. "Those investors won't know what hit them." Then she mentioned the charity gala. "I'm going this weekend. All the important business people will be there. I'll show off my language skills." My heart sank. My company was a major sponsor, and I'd be representing our international division. There was a good chance I'd see Cora, but she had no idea who I really was. I thought about canceling or warning her, but I couldn't figure out how without revealing my identity. The gala was beautiful. Our company had a front row table, and I was sitting with senior management and their spouses. I wore an elegant black dress, styled my hair up, and wore contact lenses. I looked nothing like the tutor Cora knew. Halfway through dinner, I saw her across the room. She was radiant in a silver gown, holding court at the most prestigious table. And then I saw him, her husband, my CEO. I realized Cora was Clarissa Hamilton, the CEO's wife. I spent the rest of the evening barely eating, praying she wouldn't notice me. When dessert came, I excused myself to the restroom. But as I was returning, Clarissa was walking straight towards me. I quickly sat down and focused on my plate. Then a colleague called out my name. I looked up just as Clarissa passed. Our eyes met for a second. I saw confusion on her face, but then she walked on. I thought I was safe. The next morning, she stormed into my office. She'd spent the night trying to figure out where she knew me from. When she couldn't place my face, she convinced herself I'd deliberately snubbed her. My boss, after Clarissa left, said, "Pack your things." "I'm sorry, Wilma, but I can't have this drama at home." I was in disbelief. "You're firing me because I didn't stand up fast enough?" She says you ignored her and made her look bad. I was eating and didn't even realize she was there. But he said it didn't matter. He'd give me good references and a severance package. That's when I had an idea. "Before I go, you should know about your wife's presentation." I sent him videos of all the tutoring sessions. His face went pale as he watched Clarissa struggle with basic Mandarin. "She's been lying to you," I said. "For 8 months, I've been her tutor. She can't speak Mandarin beyond memorized scripts." I removed my glasses and let my hair down, revealing my true identity. "I'm Wilma Reed, and her lessons are over." The next 3 days were a blur of job applications and angry calls from Clarissa. She threatened to sue me for breaking confidentiality. I called her back and explained that the agreements didn't prevent me from defending myself. The morning of the presentation, I woke up with a knot in my stomach. I knew the investors would see through Clarissa's act. At 10 o'clock, my phone rang. It was my former boss, sounding desperate. "Wilma, I need your help. The investors are here early, and Clarissa is panicking. She can't handle casual conversation. I don't work there anymore. I'll give you your job back, a promotion, a raise. Just help us with the presentation." I thought about the colleagues who would lose their jobs if the deal fell through. "I'll come in as a consultant, but I'm doing this for the team, not for Clarissa." I arrived at the office 45 minutes before the presentation. Clarissa was practicing her opening remarks. When she saw me, she hissed, "What is she doing here?" "Helping to save your presentation," I replied. "Unless you can handle the Q&A on your own." Her face went pale. The investors arrived on time. They were comfortable with me, but when Clarissa tried to join the conversation with her rehearsed phrases, things got awkward. Then, Miss Lin from Shanghai Logistics asked a question about the logistics timeline for the Shanghai distribution center. Clarissa was lost. She looked at me desperately, but I stayed silent. She stammered a response that made no sense. The investors started to realize something was wrong. Miss Lin asked another question in English about regulatory compliance. Clarissa had no idea, so she said, "Perhaps my consultant can answer." I stepped forward and answered the question in detail. The investors were impressed and started directing questions to me. For the next 20 minutes, I took over the presentation. Mr. Chin finally addressed the issue. We were told Mrs. Hamilton would be our primary contact, but it seems Miss Reed has the expertise. Who will actually manage this relationship? The room fell silent. Clarissa's husband looked embarrassed, and Clarissa stared at the floor, red-faced. I said gently, there may have been a misunderstanding. It might be best to reschedule after clarifying the roles. After the investors left, the room was dead silent. Clarissa blamed me, but I told her, this is your doing. You lied about your qualifications and tried to destroy my career over a false slight. 2 weeks later, my boss called with an offer. The board was unhappy about the failed presentation and my termination. They offered me the position of Vice President of International Business Development with a big salary increase and full autonomy. I accepted with conditions. A written guarantee that family members can't interfere in personnel decisions, the authority to rebuild the international division my way, and a formal apology for my wrongful termination. 6 months later, I rebuilt the relationship with the Chinese investors and closed a deal worth $68 million more than the original proposal. Clarissa became an outcast in her social circle. 8 months after the presentation, my boss approached me with another offer. Senior Vice President of Global Operations. I accepted, and 3 months later, I was officially promoted. Clarissa never spoke to me again. I heard she started taking Spanish lessons, probably trying to create a new image. The whole situation was ironic. Her attempt to destroy my career led to her own downfall and my rise. It just goes to show that in the business world, pretense can only last so long. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever seen someone's lies catch up with them? Or have you stood up for yourself and faced unexpected consequences? Leave a comment below and share your story. And if you enjoyed this tale, hit the like button and subscribe for more workplace drama and karma stories.